What's going on, guys? Let me explain this to you because you guys need to understand this. This is extremely important information. And when you can truly process this information and start to apply it in your life, not just listen to it, because listening to it is cool. That's the first step, is to expose yourself to the information. But the most important step is application. Because I can sit here and read about how to change my body, how to get bigger. And if I just take all this information in, but I don't implement it, then I'm not going to see a change. The same thing with you guys. If you read up on how to lose weight, but you don't implement the information, cool. You know the information, but you're not doing anything with it. So my video today is about who you really are is who you are on your worst days, when things aren't going your way, when your wife just divorced you, when your job just fired you, when you're not getting any sales, when you're just going hard, working hard, but you're not getting any sales and you almost feel like you're unlucky, like life is just not going your way, like what's going on? Understand this. You solidify the man that you are in those moments. So if you complain, guess what? When you complain, you stay the same. But when you complain, you're solidifying that you are a whiny little girl, because a man does not sit there and complain. All complaining is accepting I'm too weak to change whatever it is that I'm going through. Whenever I hated my job, and I'm telling you, I hated this shit. There was nothing in the world that I hated more than working a 9 to 5, getting told what to do every single day by some fat motherfucker who I did not respect in any way, sitting here all day taking orders. I don't even want to go to a meeting, and I got to sit here and go to some meeting on my day off. I got to show up, sit here, listen to a meeting that I don't care about. I don't care about any of this. And then on top of that, it's a bunch of information that you already, like, I already knew the information. So it's so pointless. So on those days where I just hated that, and I'm telling you, I'm not saying this as an understatement. That's the one thing in my life that I hated, is having to go to a job that I did not want to be at. But guess what? I never complained. I never said, I hate this job. I hate this job. I hate this job. The only time I would speak about it is when I was speaking about making a plan to get out of it. That's it. So if you're speaking about it to make a plan out, that's totally fine. But if you're just complaining about your situation, you're just saying, I'm too weak to change it. If I would have been there all day saying, I just hate this situation, I hate this situation, but every day went by and I did nothing to change it, I would just be a complaining little girl. I'm not a man if I'm sitting there and complaining. But what did I do? I internalized those feelings of hating this shit. And I made a plan and I got the fuck up out of there. It's the same thing with you guys. If you're out of shape, don't sit there and just cry about it. Don't sit there and just complain. You're wasting energy. You're taking that energy and you're letting it out. When in reality, you gotta mold it into a ball and just, no, Diddy. You gotta just, make that energy build up. And then you choose something. Once you've built up the energy of anger, of sadness, of grief, of embarrassment, whatever it is that you're feeling, put it and channel it into a productive outlet. I'm not saying build that up and go out there and shoot up a school. Don't do that, okay? I'm talking about you let it build up and then you use it to become a better version of yourself. And then on those moments, you're solidifying that you're the type of man who does not complain. And what are you telling yourself when you're solidifying that you are a man who doesn't complain? Because we're all going to go through things in life, and it's always going to get tough at times. There's always going to be moments in our life where we don't exactly like what's going on, where things in our life, no matter how hard you work to make sure your life is perfect, something's always going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When is it going to happen? And that's the big question. We don't know. It just works that way. One day shit happens, and the way that you carry yourself in those moments is the man who you're going to solidify yourself as. So if you're complaining, what you're saying is, when you don't complain, what you're saying is life is gonna throw things my way, right? But I'm going to handle it like a man. I'm not gonna sit here and cry about it. I'm simply just gonna figure a way out of this. And when you start to do that more and more, and you train your mind to become that man, you build the character in your mind of who you want to be. And every single time something happens to you, you uphold that character. You don't let yourself break character. You don't let yourself do what you feel like doing it. Because when shit doesn't go your way, you might feel like not doing it. You might feel like complaining. You might feel like making an excuse. You might feel like thinking of a way to just avoid the problem. But instead of going with what you feel, you train your mind to uphold the character. Define it in your mind. When I go through things, the man who I am in my head is a man who doesn't make excuses, a man who makes it happen, a man who does not complain, a man who will figure a way out no matter what. And anytime anything happens in my life, that's the character. That's who I am. So I have no other way of handling any bad situation. I go through a breakup, I'm not going to sit there and cry. I'm not going to sit there and complain, even if it's someone that I care about. And that doesn't mean I don't care about them. But the person who I am in my head doesn't make excuses, figures a way out of anything, makes it happen, no matter what, always working on improving. So in moments of adversity, there's no other way I can handle it. I've defined the man that I am in my head, and that's how I'm going to handle it. I'm not going to sit there and break. I'm not going to sit there and cry. Why? Because that's just the man that I am. So when you are the type of man who does not have an image of who you are, your feelings start to make out this image of who you are in your mind. And you start to have low self-worth. Meaning, when things happen, you feel all depressed. You go with what you feel. You start something, and that's another thing. I'm a man who keeps my word. So if I say I'm going to do something, I do it, regardless of how I feel. And when I'm training my mind to do that, because that's the man who I am, there's no other way around it, I'm not going to break character. I would feel like a bitch. If I broke character, I would feel like a bitch. Because that's the man that I am. If I'm not living up to that, then who am I? Then I'm lost. If I'm not living up to the man who I believe myself to be in my head, then I'm lost. And that's the reason why a lot of you guys, you might feel depressed at times. You might feel like you're going through a rut. And the reality is you've built yourself up in your head to be this man. And when you don't uphold it, you're going beneath your standards. And when you go beneath your standards, you're going to start to feel off because your mind is notifying you. It's asking you, it's saying, what's going on? Nothing's in your way. Nobody's stopping you. So why aren't you doing it? Why are you breaking your word? Why are you making excuses? So deep down inside, that feeling of depression, that feeling of feeling sad, it's your mind. Your mind is sad that you're not living up to your potential. Your mind is sad that you're not doing what you know you're supposed to do. Of course, you're going to feel sad. Of course, you're going to feel sad. That's the standard, and you're going beneath it. You're dropping beneath the standard. Uphold that character in moments of adversity. If you go through a breakup, guess what? Are you a man who cries and complains? Or are you a man who takes it on the chin and says, you know what? I'm going to improve my life. There's no other way around it. Anytime that I've ever gone through something like that, I've just became better. I have just became better. The best the best transformations in my life was when I went through something like that. When I went through a breakup, when I got fired from a job, when I hated the job that I worked at. Not one time did I complain about any of those. Out of a relationship, okay, time to get in the gym, time to work out, time to make myself look better and have more options. Got fired from a job, okay, no problem. Boom, propelled me to getting a job that was paying more. Hated that job, okay, let me figure out a way to become my own boss. Each time, never once did I sit there, cry about it like a little girl. Because in my mind, I told myself, this is the man who I am. I had an option. I had two choices. When you get out of a relationship, you have two choices. Which man do you want to be? Because your choices are building you up to that person. So whether you like it or not, whether you say, I want to be this person, but every single time you have the choice, you have two roads, you choose the choice that goes against that, you're just pushing yourself further and further and further from that person. And it might be a hard decision for you guys, but it's not a hard decision for me. Why would I choose to be a weaker version of myself? Why would I choose that? I love myself and I respect myself too much to choose something that is literally dropping my self-worth. That's why you guys are socially anxious. That's why you guys are socially awkward. That's why you guys feel no confidence. That's why you guys get into a relationship that lacks respect. I can't live with any of those things. And at one point in my life, I have. Until I learned what building yourself up to be is. Thinking of who you want to be, visualizing that man. And every single time you're met with those choices, you say, nope, I'm choosing the choice to get me closer and closer. And the more you choose that, the stronger you get. Eventually, you're so far up the road that there's no point in turning back. I'm way over 1,000 days of quitting the pills, the pain pills, the Percocets that I used to take almost every day. $60 on pills every single day to get high. And I'm so far up the road, I don't need them. At first, you got to force yourself. You got to force yourself to choose that choice. Because at first, your mind is so used to this life that you've created that eventually you have to manually override it. You have to say, anytime a feeling comes up, no, we're not doing that. We're going to continue on this path. The feeling comes up, no, we're not doing that. We're going to continue on this path. Eventually, it's on autopilot. I don't think about pills anymore because I'm so far up the road. There's no point in turning back. Because if the goal was to become a better man, if the goal was to become the best version of myself, and I'm already so far up the road, why would I turn around and be a less optimal version of myself? Tell me that. I don't know why some of you guys make that choice. I don't know why some of you guys get on the road to improving yourself. You start losing weight. You start respecting yourself more. You start having more confidence. And you choose to opt out. You choose to turn around and become a less optimal version of yourself. At the end of the day, that's not hurting me. It hurts to see when someone does that to themselves because it's like, what are you doing? You could literally be so much better, but you're choosing that? No wonder you're going to have no self-respect. No wonder you're not going to have any confidence because of your choices. All right, guys, that's the video for today. Peace out.